Hello, this is Erick Widman, David Lee from Passage Immigration Law, and we're so excited you're here. We're doing these business immigration webinars every week now. We're forcing ourselves to do it. Sometimes it's hard to get away from our clients and casework, but it is worthwhile, and it's a good discipline, and it's a good service we can provide out there because there's so many questions. There's a need for more knowledge and know-how. The topic today, in honor of H1B season, is immigration cap-exempt cases, and how do you know if you should pursue a case like that or not? How do you know if you need to be in the lottery or not? Because that's a huge downside of the US H1B business visa. Many people have to be in the lottery, and maybe there's only a 30% chance that you'll get selected in that lottery. So having a cap-exempt option allows you to avoid that lottery. So David, I'm going to hand it over to you as before, and I'll help facilitate any questions, but over to you.
Hi, everyone. Very nice to meet you this way. Last week, we covered general information and general process of H1B. And this week, we are going to cover one of the specific topic in H1B season, which is cap-exempt. So what is cap-exempt? I will be explaining it. So definition, for H1B cases, there are two types. One is cap-subject versus cap-exempt. So cap here means numeric limit of H1B cases that can be approved in 1 year. So cap-subject cases, which is in most of the cases, belongs to this category. These cases, there is annual limit of H1B that can be granted, which is 85,000 cases per year. But of course, the applications are much more than that. So then we need the case selection process by lottery. So only 85,000 cases are selected from the lottery versus this cap-subject. Cap-exempt, there's no lottery and there's no numeric limit of this type of cases. That's very good news considering H1B option, because that random case selection by lottery is big uncertainty. And we do not know for sure whether we can even file H1B case or not, because it is up to the random lottery. So a cap-exempt case, it does not have such kind of uncertainty. And also, there's no H1B season, because for cap subject, there is H1B season because that random case selection happens once a year, mostly, at this time of year in March. So compared to that, cap-exempt, there's no season. That means you can file H1B change of status or H1B consular processing petition at any time during the year. So this is a really good option. Then my next question is going to be, who can enjoy this benefit of being cap-exempt case? So I listed certain categories that qualifies for this cap-exempt case. First one is institution of higher education, mostly universities. So if you are employee of this higher education institute, and your universities are willing to sponsor you for H1B, then you qualify for cap-exempt, meaning you don't have to go through the lottery and you can file the H1B petition at any time. The second category is governmental research organization. So I just listed a few examples to help you understanding of this type. So research organization related to government, and research organization who is under supervision of government agencies. So example, NIH, NASA, IES. So this is just mere examples, and other research organization related to the government agency can qualify for this. Third one is big, non-profit. So most often confusion I met is that many people understand, many people who know about cap-exempt understand that non-profits are cap-exempt. So this understanding is yes and no, because non-profits can qualify for that if it meets certain conditions, but not all non-profits qualify for it. And what is the condition? Is two. First one is affiliation with the institution of higher education, universities. What is this? So there are certain nonprofits and other organizations who has MOUs, memorandum of understanding, with universities. For example, under this MOU, universities send their students to work at the nonprofits as interns. One good example is school. So school district, they can, I know the school district is somewhere between nonprofit and government. However, for example, most of the school districts are qualified as cap-exempt based on their MOUs with universities, because university students who are majoring in education, they oftentimes work at the schools as a student intern. So this is a good example. And the second condition for nonprofit to qualify as cap-exempt is nonprofit research organization. So here the research organization is same as that's the second category I shared, the governmental research organization, which means either the organization who are committed to either basic research or applied research. So both qualify for that. So those two, affiliation with university and nonprofit research organization, is the only case nonprofits qualify for cap-exempt. And the next, this category is for people employed by other organization that is not qualifying. For example, employees of a nonprofit that does not qualify for cap-exempt, but if they spend majority of the work time, for example, if the person's work time is 40 hours per week, then and if the person worked about 30 years at university or any other research organization, then the person the person's H1B can be qualified as cap-exempt under this category. And the process, so this is not general H1B process, and this is process unique to cap-exempt. Oh, and yeah, the part-time employment is okay. So generally, many positions require at least 20 hours commitment, but less than 20 hours would be okay. So for example, 10 hours, 8 hours can be okay. But for that, we need to provide good explanation about why this employer need this short part-time employment. So it's up to each employer's business and their necessity of this type of hiring. And it's good to know, compared to that, in contrast to that, if you are considered be permanent resident based on the employment, you should be hired in full time. So there's big difference between H1B and green card. The second point is cap gap. So to speak conclusion first, the cap-exempt cases is not related to cap-gap. So I should explain what cap-gap is. It is only for the cap subject cases, because the cap subject cases, based on the schedule of H1B season, the first date they can start working as an H1B is October 1st every year. So there can be a gap between the OPT expiration and October 1st. So in case where the H1B applicant has been under OPT status and the status is expiring, for example, in August, then there can be a gap between the August and until October 1st. But the cap gap benefit allows them to continue work even beyond the expiration of OPT until the first day of the H1B. This is very good benefit. But unfortunately, cap exempt cases, this cap gap benefit is not available. Maybe it's because cap exempt cases, there is no official start date. Cap exempt cases, they can start working immediately after the petition is approved. So maybe they might be the reason why there's no cap gap for OPT holders. But even if there's no cap gap benefit, the premium processing is available for cap exempt. Meaning, if you file under premium processing by paying $2,500 more as a filing fee, then USCIS will adjudicate within 3 weeks. So this is pretty fast, and you can plan ahead considering this premium. And next slide. So what happens after approval is the same. Cap subject and cap exempt, the same. You will have initial 3-year H1B status, and you can renew for another 3 years. But there's tricky issue when you are considering the transfer, meaning at some point at your H1B, you may have a good job offer and change the employer during the new firm and new organizations. So I'm going to spend some time explaining about tricky issues in H1B transfer case. In transfer case, generally, you can start working for the new company after the new H1B petition filed by the new employer is received by USCIS. And the second part is important. So I explained this difference between cap subject and cap exempt. And lottery is waived for cap exempt cases. So this is very important because, so if you are currently working at cap exempt organization and you want to move to another cap exempt organization, then there should be no problem. Still, you don't have to worry about the lottery. You can just have the new employer file the new H1B petition, and you can continue work when the filing is received. However, if you are planning to move to cap subject companies, like companies such as Amazon and Facebook, then you need to go through the lottery, and you need to go through follow all the rules for cap subject cases, including H1B season. So you need to wait for the season, and you need to be selected from the random lottery. So this makes the very complicated your case. However, one good news is that it can be a rare occasions, but in case of concurrent employment, that means you can have concurrent employment, meaning you can have 2 employers at the same time. Yeah, of course, it is possible only when your employment is part-time. So let's say the 20 hours for employer A and another 20 hours for employer B. So for this concurrent employment, you can have second employer, which is cap subject, without having to worry about lottery and all the H1B season. So that's pretty good news. But there's one condition. You can maintain this employment with one cap exempt and one cap subject only while you are maintaining your employment with cap exempt, your first employer and sponsor. So this concludes my presentation about cap exempt, and I want to open the floor for your questions.
Great. Thank you, David. Very helpful. And I'm glad we're recording this because it's packed full of all kinds of great information that people could refer to later. So one question we have is it easy to have your nonprofit organization become an authorized cap-exempt organization, or is it difficult to do that?
I would say it's difficult because, as I explained, there should be an affiliation with higher education institute, universities. That means there should be MOUs between the university, and there should be positions available for the university student. I believe that's not the case for all nonprofit. So it depends. It depends on what kind of work the nonprofit is doing. And the second option would be nonprofit research organization. Is also the difficult for some nonprofit because by birth, some nonprofits are research organization, but not every nonprofits are that category.
Got it. Yeah, I know we've had some potential clients ask us, is it difficult to get an MOU set up? Will that be sufficient? And I think, David, the answer is depends, right? The classic maybe. Yes. One final question in terms of timing, when is it too late to apply for an H1B that is subject to the cap?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So that the schedule for the H1B season this year was just announced. So the schedule this year, the first step, employer has to register for random case selection with USCIS. That begins on the February 21st, and USCIS will receive the registration and application for random case selection during maybe the first 2 weeks of March, and they are going to select cases until the end of March.
Got it. So yeah, the window is open. It's available. So great. Well, thanks again, David, for putting this together. Feel free to get in touch, everyone, with further questions, and we look forward to seeing you next time. All right. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.